All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Versatility Podcast. I'm your host, Juelz. I just got to make sure y'all, know that I can still sing. You know what I mean? But as you guys can see today, it's just me. We're gonna be a little intimate today. It's just me and whoever else is watching on the other side of this screen, that type of vibe. Yeah. So, I haven't done a solo episode in a long time. I haven't done one since really I came back and started doing this again weekly. Missed a few weeks, but so far we've been pretty good. So, as you guys all know, we're going to start off with top news today, that type of stuff, and then work our way down and things of that nature. But again, I actually want to ask, before I really get started into this and everything, how are y'all doing today? Y'all doing good? Are you doing bad? Or are you somewhere in between? Because at the end of the day, we're just trying to live, and we're trying to get to the point to where we're not surviving, but, we're thriving, and just living our lives the best way that we can, Remember, guys, don't think of it as trying. Think of it as doing. And your doing are just attempts until you can get it the best way that you can do it. You know what I mean? If that didn't make any sense, then it doesn't make any sense. So we're just gonna keep going. Whatever. Because we got a lot of things. Well, we don't have exactly a lot of things to talk about, but the one thing that I do want to talk about specifically is very, very detailed and a little complex, and we're gonna get into it right away. Also, before I say that, as you see, I'm wearing Morgan today. Morgan State University won their first football game of the 2022 through 2023 season. Well, technically just the 2022 season because it's college football. It doesn't run into the next year. So shout out to Morgan State University. Go Bears. I'm really excited that we got our first dub yesterday against Sacred Temple or something of that nature. Either way, it was a home game. We won. I didn't get to see the game because I was busy working on my car and everything, but I'm really happy, and we won by 12 or something like that. It was like 24 to 2 at one point. Either way, I was so excited. It's great to get our first win. We're 1-2 on the season. Haven't played anybody in our conference yet. So technically we're still 0-0 in terms of the MEAC championship, things of that nature. But that's neither here or there. My Packers are actually about to play. I'm recording this at about, what time is it? About 4:53 p.m. So technically it's in the middle of the NFL games and everything of that nature. But at the end of the day, I'm here to do this for y'all because I love y'all and I love doing this show and this podcast. And again, even though I'm talking a whole bunch, let me get into it right here. So to start off, everybody knows this by now, but Queen Elizabeth II died peacefully at age 96. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the good and the bad when it comes to her. There's a lot of things that have happened over her rule. She ended up dying at Balmoral Castle on September 8th, 2022. She had a 70-year reign. Led since she was 25 years old, succeeding King George in 1952. She's Britain's longest reigning monarch of all time. Well, longest reigned, whatever. She did a lot of good things, but she also did a lot of bad things. Her son is replacing her, King Charles, and as you know, there was another King Charles way back when, all that type of stuff. But the main reason why I want to talk about this is because of what happened when she died. Because I live in the U.S., and on top of that, I don't pay too much attention to foreign affairs. I do listen to NPR's Up First a good amount, so I hear a little bit about it. But there's usually nothing big news in the UK that needs to be covered. It's been a lot of the Ukraine versus Russia stuff and some other political uprising and things of that nature in the Middle East and in the South Americas and things of that nature. So I really haven't heard much about the Queen and all the stuff going on with that. And so when I go to Twitter, No, actually, it was my man's Tracy, who's been on the show twice so far. He sent something in the chat about what's trending on Twitter. And the first thing I see is Rip Bozo. And I'm like, what? And then I go to my own Twitter and see the things that are trending. And I see just a whole bunch of stuff just slandering the queen. Like, smoking that queen pack and all those type of things. And I'm like, yo, whoa, like, what's going on? Like, I thought the queen was cool. Like, I didn't, like, you know, like, for me on the outside looking in, I'm like, oh, you know, it's the queen, you know, like, she doing her thing, yada, yada, yada. But, like, I didn't think too much of it for real. It really wasn't, I really didn't think too much of it. Yeah, I really didn't think that much of it. As you can see, I just had to pause it to put my lighting on and things of that nature. Forgot to do that. But it was just like, okay, why are they doing all this? And what I ended up seeing is that, like, after doing a whole bunch of scrolling and a whole bunch of just seeing all the chaos that was happening on Twitter, because it was just a mixture of reactions from the U.S. along with politicians or big celebrities and things of that nature, because I know there's some celebrities who've got knighted by Queen Elizabeth II, along with the Obamas are some people that really love the queen. Recently they did some type of tribute for her and things of that nature. So, you know, I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's going on. And I also see the news interviewed a lady on the streets in the UK, and she was like, oh, condolences, yada, yada. But, like, I wasn't really, like, a big fan of the queen. Like, you know, okay, she's gone. I was like, wow. I just, you know, I just didn't. I don't know. It was weird. Like, it was really weird to see all that happening. And Scotland and the Ireland Twitter, Scottish and Irish Twitter was on fire as well. You know, talking about, you know, all that packing and all that type of stuff, because they were used to be British colonies and something of that nature, or used to have ties to the British, or they didn't get certain things from the British, got done and dirty. But it's just so much going on. And so I just wanted to talk about, like, some of the things as to why it was like this, because I'm trying to figure out, okay, why is it like this? And after doing a considerable amount of research, I'm like, oh. I'm like, okay, I see. Now, before I go into the bad, I do want to talk a little bit about the goods that they have done. They've paid tribute to. They actually played the U.S. national anthem after 9/11 happened as tribute for what happened with that. They definitely, over the years, of course, they started off with a lot of colonies, because you got to think about 70 years ago, that's the early 1900s, or mid 1900s, somewhere in that time frame. And they've lost a lot of colonies since then, but it was more so of a formality rather than wanting them to let go of the colonies, at least from what I've seen from my research that I've done. On top of that, they've done a considerable amount of things. They're really good with what's the word? They're really good with diplomacy and, you know, keeping relations well and things of that nature. But there's a lot of underhanded things that have happened during Queen Elizabeth's rule. And I'm just gonna start off with, again, I told you already that they had 70 colonies underneath her watch when she came into power after she replaced her dad. I'm talking about Queen Elizabeth. They were a big colonial power. Still are technically. They changed the name from colonies to overseas territories over time, because to make it more, look better politically. Even though she came into power with all of this and as a figurehead, they're still the ones that are mainly responsible for the African and Caribbean slavery thingy, you know, like the reason why essentially I'm here right now. and then like they're basically carrying on what happened. And then on top of that, what I've noticed as well is that they're basically racist at the end of the day as well. At least from what I've seen and what I've heard. I can add up 1 + 1, and that equals 2. I'm just gonna keep it real. And I just seen so much information, like so many underhanded things. And then we're going to talk about Meghan Markle and Princess Diana as well, because that's a whole nother thing also. Because also when it comes to these colonies, or as they want to say, overseas territories now, the political term for it, many of the conditions in these places were still really bad and still are really bad compared to, pre-slavery or, slave trade and things of that nature. And they've never really received any reparations they've never given reparations to many of the colonies or really helped them in many ways either. And they've had there are some people in the royal family like Prince Harry and Princess Diana before she passed away, before she died, that, wanted to kind of speak out against that type of stuff, but they didn't really get to make any traction in that type of way, because it's just it's interesting to navigate that area. It's kind of like with the U.S. We still haven't seen any reparations of any sense in particular. Like, we've talked about it for a long time. It's something that we want, but how are we going to do that? And granted, we've made a lot of progress over the years in the U.S. as a whole. But as we know, in the U.S., there's still a lot of racism, a lot of racism, a lot of systematic things that need to be fixed. There's a lot going on in the U.S., and you can only imagine how, if we have those problems here in a pretty progressive country, then what do you think it's like in all the other colonies let me read it again. Overseas territories that Britain has had over the years, and they haven't really given them much leeway in majority of the things that they've done over time. So, continuing on with just some more information and things of that nature, Barbados just recently broke away from Britain and the Commonwealth in 2021. Barbados, that's where Rihanna's from. I know she's a diplomat for the Barbados government and does a lot of government work with them. That's another reason why she hasn't done as much music in the last 4, 5, 6 years or so. Still a phenomenal artist, but even better person, at least from what I can tell. I don't know Rihanna personally. I know she just got pregnant by Joey Badass and things of that nature, but that's neither here or there. Also, there was the Jamaicans were furious over Prince William and Kate's visit, which prompted a letter demanding reparations for Jamaica. It's a lot. They were not given the reparations. Clearly, they were not given the reparations. Also, another thing that happened during the reign, the Scottish Parliament and the Brexit happened, and y'all remember how big the Brexit was for the UK leaving the European Union. Also, another weird thing that happened was the younger Queen Elizabeth, when she was younger, probably in her 20s, 30s, 40s, somewhere in that range, she danced with the Ghanaian president. Jesus is bad, Julian. So they would stay in the Commonwealth and not become communist or a socialist place. This was in the 1900s. I think it was mid to late 1900s. But that's really a diplomacy type thing, and I can understand it. But at the end of the day, they're trying to keep power. And I know I'm spouting a lot of information. I know it might not make a whole bunch of sense, but I'm just trying to list the different things as to why Twitter got the responses why Twitter has had the responses that they've had in response to the Queen's death. Because I didn't know a lot of this information. Also, there's a thing called the Mau Mau Rebellion. Basically, they buried 80K to 450K people and hanged over 1,000 people who were suspected rebels. That's a whole nother thing. I'm telling you guys, it's a lot of information. I need you guys to do your own research, and I can only tell you how much I can tell you, but this is just some of the things that I'm seeing and some of the things that I researched that I wanted to share with you guys, because I'm using my platform to talk about these difficult things. Again, It's a lot of information. I know it is, but I'm going to get through as much as I can. So there was the Chuka and Ola massacre. In 1953 in Chuka, Kenya, 20 unarmed people killed during an uprising. That was another thing that happened in Chuka, Kenya. In Hola, Kenya in 1959, there was a rehabilitation camp with 506 detainees. 127 of them were held in close camp. In close camp. Forced 88 people to bend to work and killed 11 people by club. The guards did that. Again, just some weird things that have happened. And as you know about the U.S. government, there's a lot of weird things that have happened over time as well that definitely has been swept under the rug and that needs to be spoken about. Also, again, when I'm talking about a lot of these colonies and stuff that I just talked about right here, I got this from www.themarysue.com. That's Mary, M-A-R-Y, and then Sue is in like I'm suing somebody, S-U-E. I got a lot of that information from there. Yeah, this is a lot. It really is a lot. I can go on even more as well. Another reason why people don't like the British monarchy is too much money is spent on the royal family when they really don't do a lot to deserve that type of money. They're really just figureheads and faces they're really just figureheads and faces. They're almost like relics in a sense. They get billions of dollars from the government when it could have been used for health and roads and infrastructure and so much more. Basically what the British government, not the British government because they have a prime minister and things of that nature, but what the British monarchy does is they do engagements, charity work, and they host/talk to diplomatic people. They don't hold a vote for a lot of these things because they're more so diplomats than anything. They just have final say for legislation that is passed by Parliament, but it's basically a formality because they always usually pass it. So again, they really do not have a say. The last time that they didn't pass something that was from Parliament was in 1707, and that was by Queen Anne. So it's been a long time. Another thing on top of that is I talked about the reparations part. And in 1833, so this is a little before slavery ended in the U.S., British Parliament paid 200 million euros to 3,000 slave owner families. That's 300 billion euros in today's currency. And euros are not that far off from the U.S. dollar and the foreign exchange market and things of that nature. And they recently just paid that off with huge loans in 2015. And again, never gave reparations to the freed colonies. So again, I can understand the Twitter replies and just the things that have happened and why people are having the reaction they had, smoking on the Queen pack and all those different types of things. I don't agree with saying those type of things. I don't like desecrating the dead and things of that nature. I think that's not my job to do, but I understand people's frustrations as to why they say those type of things. Another reason why they don't like the monarchy, because I'm telling you, I got a lot. Like Prince Andrew was recently removed from the royal family in early 2022 in January, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, he had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and if you guys know Jeffrey Epstein, trafficking, women trafficking, things of that nature. I think it was children as well. Essentially, Prince Andrew basically raped women. I'm just going to keep it real. And Queen Elizabeth borderline defended him and allowed him to stay doing this in endeavor, and at the very least allowed him to stay in power long enough, whereas he wasn't taken out of power soon enough. Just a lot of just shady stuff. A lot of shady stuff happened or happens with the British monarchy. And as a guy who's living in the U.S. and things of that nature, I'm like, excuse me? Like what is really going on? And then, let's move on a little bit further to Princess Diana, who was killed in a car crash after trying to get away from the paparazzi while she was in the U.S., if I'm not mistaken. This happened on September 5th, 1977. And basically with Princess Diana, she was a little bit different from everyone else. She tried to be a little more progressive and had a non-favorable outlook between her and the Queen. The Queen really wasn't too fond of her. Basically, again, there was a car accident, but a lot of people claim that it was set up and the Queen killed her. The Queen really didn't speak on the problem until her other daughters and sons spoke on it, and then she spoke on it a little late, tried to give her condolences, things of that nature. But again, it just looked sketchy. It looked weird. Like it really did, from the research that I'm putting in. And Princess Diana really said she didn't feel like she was one of them because she was just different. And then not soon after she did an interview or something like that, she dies. Make a little sense. I mean, it's just interesting. Granted, I'm not saying the Queen killed Princess Diana, but I am saying that it's weird. It's just weird. Like, it really is just weird. And the timing and all that type of stuff, and the driver just losing control and things. Like, it's just weird. And she later died in the hospital after complications and had like a wound in her chest area. It's just weird. It really is weird. Also, again, moving forward, now we have Meghan Markle. Now, for those of you who don't know, Meghan Markle is the wife of Prince Harry, who is Queen Elizabeth's, is Queen Elizabeth's grandson, and is also, a part of the royal family and things of that nature. Well, actually, right now, they are not a part of the royal family. That's a whole nother thing. Basically, when Prince Harry was trying to prepare Meghan Markle for the royal type of life, because again, she kind of just, she went into it because that's her husband, that's for you. She knew what she was walking into type stuff, and she thought she was ready, but she wasn't. A lot of stuff happened with that, being bullied and things of that nature. And I'm not gonna lie, when they had their first kid, and this is what really pissed me off a lot of it. The royal family had concerns about how dark their baby would be. Yeah. Yeah. I know, right? That's a little that's a little weird. It's weird. I don't like it. It gives racist. Like, it gives racist because allegedly the Queen was racist. The royal family is and was racist. The colony stuff, again, really them not want to give up their power. Granted, I understand you want to keep your assets and things of that nature, but what you did was inhumane, and everybody knows it was inhumane. You can't give reparations for that type of stuff. And the U.S. still hasn't given reparations, but at the very least that they made progress in terms of laws and things of that nature. But even now, we see that there are still problems. There are KKK sections all over the U.S. Now, I don't think they had KKKs in the United Kingdom. I have to do my research on that. That just popped up in my head right now. But it's just a lot of weird, shady stuff. A lot of weird, shady shit. And if I'm being honest, like, if I'm just gonna say it how it is, because it's shady and it's weird. Like, that's really weird. And we're already 20 minutes in, and I'm still talking about this because it rubs me the wrong way. Like, it really does. And continuing with the Meghan Markle stuff, the royal family called her child the N-word multiple times. And again, this Meghan Markle is not that dark-skinned. She is like borderline. If I didn't know her, like, I didn't even know she was black until like somebody was like, oh yeah, she's biracial. Because they always say, oh, Prince Harry is marrying a black woman. And she's really light-skinned, and then when you look from afar with the pictures and things of that nature, and she has straight hair, I'm like, and y'all calling her N-word and stuff like that? Based off of, because you know that she's white? I mean, because you know that she's black? And she's biracial, and again, she's super light-skinned. So, like, you really can't even tell unless you really, like, tried. And she probably, I'm assuming that, Prince Harry and all of them, they did their research. They know, and Prince Harry knew what he was doing. but he fell in love with a black woman. That's what he did. And he owned up to it. And I love Prince Harry for it because he stuck by her every step of the way, no matter how many times the royal family was being dickheads to them. I mean, dickheads to Meghan Markle, who, again, doesn't even look the most black. Like, it'd be different if it was like a super dark-skinned woman or something of that nature. But the fact that you're being racist when she's border, like, her skin color is not that dark, bro. Like, it really isn't, and y'all treating her this way is really crazy. Like, that's really crazy to me. And no, I'm not saying that she's not black because she's light-skinned. But I'm saying the fact that you have problems about how dark the baby might be when she's already pretty light-skinned. And then Prince Harry is definitely white because he's the queen's grandson. And you have concerns about how dark the baby is, and you calling the baby an N-word? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And so when the queen died and everything, Meghan Markle didn't really see the queen on her deathbed. I don't think she was invited, or at the very least, she just didn't go. She was in London on business at the time, but Prince Harry went, of course, that's his biological grandmother. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle still end up going to some funeral things and things of that nature. They were uninvited to the pre-funeral reception. That's in the future as well. I don't remember exactly when they're going to have the funeral reception and things of that nature. But, hey, it's whatever. Again, King Charles, who is Queen Elizabeth's son, who is succeeding her in power, he's actually pretty old as it is. He's probably in his 60s, 70s, I think. He looks pretty old. He has gray hairs and things of that nature. He gave Meghan and Harry, his gifts and, saying good things about them and stuff like that. But again, as I said earlier, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are not part of the royal family anymore. They left in 2020, literally right before the pandemic. They have not returned since. They've gone to a few different, like, get-together type things, but overall, they are not a part of it. I think they lived in Cali for a little, if I'm not mistaken. And they bounced around. They were in the U.S. because, Meghan Markle is a U.S. citizen, if I'm not mistaken. But, again, it's just a lot. And, just after reading all this stuff, I get it. And once again, I didn't really speak too much on what the Queen has done in a positive way. Again, from a diplomacy aspect, she's done pretty good. She's revered and loved by a lot of different people. But I understand, especially Black Twitter, who's black, I can understand how they have problems with the Queen. I understand the Scottish and Irish part of it as well, if they've had tensions between them and things of that nature. There's just a lot going on, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like how it was looking. Yeah, it was just very, very interesting. And so I just wanted to tackle that subject because I felt like I had to talk about it because it is something that is big. Like, it's big, like the Queen dying, and who knows how long King Charles is going to be in power because, again, he's pretty old as well. I mean, who knows how long Joe Biden is going to be in power. That man is old as well. He has 2 years in his term, about to be 2 years left in his term. It's about to be 2023, so then they got to reelect in 2024 for the presidency. Yeah, all right. Either way, moral of the story is pay the reparations and stop acting like you didn't do what you did, or like we're good now, or my people are good now, and whether that's South America or Africa, or my technical home country. Other black people's technical home country, or a lot of them, because some people still are Native American or something of that nature. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. Another place is also Brazil, who still, actually, I actually did not a project, but like we did some research on Brazil in one of my classes, and it's crazy because in Brazil, they basically said they said the government does not have to pay reparations to the people of Brazil because they basically essentially have nothing to do with that at this point, which doesn't make any sense because, again, Brazil is it's like 60+% black. and different shades of black at that, because there's so many different versions. My friend is actually studying abroad there right now. She'll probably be on the podcast eventually as well. But again, I just wanted to talk about that because it's just a lot. But moving on, and because that's about my news for today, or news today segment. 30 minutes in already. I just talked about the Queen basically, and I rambled a little bit. But just want to talk about that. And so moving on, I want to talk a little bit about violence. I feel like violence is on the uprising right now. There was even a study saying that between March 20th to February 2021, gun violence rose, and so did hospital visits. That's along with the COVID. Hospital visits for people with gun wounds or, just things of that nature. I got that from a CNN article about health and gun violence and pandemic strains in hospitals and stuff of that nature. But I just feel like violence is on the up and up. Because if let's think about it for a second here. If we go back to the beginning of the pandemic, what was happening? Nothing. Everybody was stuck in their houses. And they even said in the article how, car crashes and things of that nature went down. Why? Because nobody was driving. Everybody was stuck in their homes. If you were still going to work, you were the few. The few, the proud, the Marines type shit. But I'm so stupid. But, there was just nothing going on. So there's more time for stupid stuff to happen. Especially in the black community, but also in just communities all over, especially in the U.S., because it's just a lot of BS going on. I've seen people from my high school just doing stupid stuff now. I've lost a considerable amount of people who used to go to my high school due to gun violence or mental health as well. Mental health was at an all-time low during the pandemic, and that led to suicides and just death in general and bad decisions and using drugs and alcohol and things of that nature to cope, when that ended up working in their detriment and not their benefit. In the short run, maybe their benefit, you get rid of the feeling, but in the long term, you're only prolonging the problem. We're going to talk a little bit about that later as well. When it comes to gun violence, though, if you have nothing else better to do and you're just out there chilling with your homies and things of that nature, you have more time to do gang-related activities or just make stupid decisions. Now you have more time to just, again, make stupid decisions and do dumb things. And that's what I've been seeing. Even on the campus of Morgan State University, recently there was an attempted kidnapping in Marble Hall Gardens, which is literally like 1-2-minute driving away from campus, about a 7 to 15 minute walk away from campus, depending where you are. A girl was literally got dropped off a bus, and then was walking from the shopping centers right next to it, and then next thing you know, she saw some men try to run after her. So she ran towards the Marble Hall Gardens area, but then these other guys jumped off a bus and ran this dude off who was trying to kidnap her. That's weird, right? And then on the violence aspect, gun violence that are is going crazy. I did some research for a class about a year or two ago, and what I realized was that crimes, especially in Milwaukee and Baltimore, and really just the other top cities in crime, because Baltimore and Milwaukee are both top 5, top 10 in crime. They've beaten their records from last year of how many murders there were around that time. It was in June for both Milwaukee and Baltimore, they were already way above the amount of murders or killings or gun-related problems that happened at that time. It was in June, and I'm seeing all this stuff happen. We saw with the Bucks game by the Deer District. There was a shooting that happened that ended up us not having another watch party for Game 7 of the NBA semifinals for the East. And in Baltimore, like I see it a lot. Like it's just a lot of violence all the time, and it's on the rise, and it's not going down. It's not going down at all, and that's why it was just a big thing, because of the fact that there were a lot of hospitalizations that were happening along with the COVID hospitalizations. There are a lot of hospitalizations for people who had gunshot wounds and things of that nature. And so violence has just really been on the up and up. And I think conflict resolution is something that's really being lost nowadays. I feel like everybody has a quick trigger, whether that's to grab a gun, grab a knife, or to even fight. I'd even like fighting more than you trying to kill somebody with a gun or a knife. I feel like everybody kind of escalates something to that next level when there's a problem. Oh, you disrespected me or mine or my family and stuff like that. I had to tell this kid about a month ago or something like that. He was like, yeah, he disrespected my sister, yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to make sure I shank him next time or something like that. I'm like, why? Like, I get it. No, I get it. I get him. If you need to beat him up or something like that, I get it. I get that a little bit. But what I don't get is you killing another man. And really, he's just a kid. They're both kids. They're both like, in high school. And I'm like, why would you? Why? Like, what's the point? And he's saying, bro, you don't get it, bro. You're not from here, bro. You're not from Baltimore, bro. You don't understand it, bro. I'm like, no, I do. Because I have friends back home in Milwaukee who've done the same stupid stuff before. And then I get it. There's a disconnect. He don't understand where I'm from. I get where he's from to an extent. You're right. He's right to an extent. I don't know what he's talking about. But at the same time, I do. Because you killed that dude, right? Or you stabbed him, whatever. There's a ripple effect where you are now stripped of your opportunities if you get caught. If and when you get caught. Because it's only a matter of time, usually. Now you're either going to juvie, or if the crime is serious enough, you will go to actual prison. Because if your crime was that serious, they will put you in prison because of the seriousness of the crime. You don't need to be in juvie. You just need to be locked up then. And I feel like there's a lot of that going on where people are escalating the situations based off of just trivial matters, really, or people trying to gangbang or just do all this stupid stuff. And it's frankly irritating to see it, especially with people that I know, where like my words can only do so much. And I can't jump in the middle of a fight all the time. I'm putting my own life in danger at that point. The only thing I can do is put in the groundwork ahead of time. It's just, it's really sad to see where a lot of these kids' heads are going. Granted, I will admit, there's definitely a problem when I was a kid as well, like seeing some people around me trying to escalate things to the next level. Oh, I'm going to shoot them, or I'm going to stab them, or I'm going to just do something of that nature. Whereas I never got that. I just wasn't raised that way. I was raised in a hood, but like I wasn't a hood kid. I didn't just go walking around and things of that nature. But when I would go to like my grandma's house and stuff like that, I got a little bit more taste of it, because then I was playing outside more, and we was right by the basketball court. So I saw how different kids acted compared to me. And I got along with them kids well, actually. I was definitely a little timid at times, but I would just see some different things and how quickly things would escalate because of just, everybody takes things to the next level so quickly. And it reminds me of a nigga moment from Boondocks. For those of you who don't know, Boondocks was a show on Adult Swim. It was a black show about these two kids who got moved to the suburbs with their grandfather. And it's just a lot of like funny and borderline sus stuff that's happened. Borderline just very discriminatory jokes and things of that nature. Just a lot of things that happened in that show. It was a black culture type show, but it spoke on some harsh realities about a whole bunch of different things. And with that show, so a nigga moment essentially is You can meet somebody randomly or something of that nature. And just one instance where you just, where somebody just does just being extra, and them being extra on that one instance, you confront them. Yo, what you say to me? Or it's something of that nature, right? Then then it keeps escalating because both of you are not gonna back down from this moment. Now, what in turn happens is you both end up using brute force. You either fight, and then if the fight doesn't go your way, then you pull out something lethal, knife, gun, or you get your homies, you come back, you spin the block. Like, that's essentially what a nigga moment. It's when something that's trivial, where somebody just being a dickhead or something of that nature, goes to the next level. And so I see a lot of those type of moments happening now. And we find it funny a lot. We see it on World Star, or we see it just on videos on Twitter and things of that nature. Like recently, I saw a dude was in an altercation in a McDonald's in New York. This man was going back and forth, and they kept hitting him and stuff like that. They ganged up on him a little bit, right? Next thing you know, this man reaches in his bag. He pulls out an axe, and he starts chopping the table down. And I'm like, yo, and everybody else start backing up. Oh, and I'm like, yo, what just happened? Like, really, what just happened? And first of all, why couldn't anybody just walk away? Is it a pride thing? It probably was a pride thing. I ain't gonna lie. If I'm the dude who keeps getting hit, that's the dude who brought out the axe. I'm not gonna lie. I might have to. Usually, it's probably you gonna get your lick back, or you gonna dip. Those are the only two options for real, or you just gonna keep getting your ass beat. It's just very interesting to me to see how some of this stuff goes. I know about another situation where somebody slashed this dude in the face just because he thought that he stole his lighter, which in the turn he didn't steal his lighter, and it's just like, okay, like you slash somebody because of a lighter. A lighter, granted, okay, your lighter might have sentimental value. Yeah. Something might have happened. I get it. I totally get it, bro. But at the same time, was it worth it? Was it really worth it to do that? Was it really worth it? And I think that's what a lot of us need to realize for ourselves when we get into these altercations and things of that nature. Granted, sometimes you have to defend yourself. I get that. And sometimes moves have to be made. But killing someone or lethally wounding someone, I get it. You have to protect yourself. I get it. But that should be a last resort. And I know too, in the hood, it's not sweet. And then just, altercations in whether you're downtown in a sketchy area and things of that nature. You having an argument with a friend or a friend of a friend, and now you gotta go off on them. I just feel like we overdo these situations so much, and it leads to things being more serious than they really are. It's not that serious. And I know that pride is one of those reasons why people do the things that they do, because, oh no, you're not going to disrespect me, or you're not going to disrespect my mans. Yo, what you say? Or just things of that nature. Or then some people really just being too big-headed and not reading the situation. Like, yo, you probably should not be talking to that person that way. You know that he gets a little crazy. And you might not be able to be your same joking self that you are with your friends with this specific person. Now you end up getting beat up and stuff like that. Granted, that person needs to work out his stuff, but at the same time, you need to realize your situation and be like, yo, I can't do this right here, because something could turn into something that it really isn't. This something could turn into something more, and it's really not even that. And this is the problem that I've seen, where violence is on the up and up right now. Yeah. Violence is increasing, and I just feel like people just don't have the same training as they used to. I'm not gonna lie, music plays a part into it. popular culture plays a part into it. Like I saw 21 Savage say something about the violence got to stop in Atlanta and things of that nature. But then, dude, you literally say you smoke somebody in your song and things of that nature. Granted, it might have been like your past stuff. I get it. But at the same time, people are constantly listening to that. Y'all want the violence to stop? These words that you say in people's heads and the lifestyle that y'all live and portray for everybody else to see, people listen to that 24/7, 365. Granted, not everybody listens to it and wants to go do that type of stuff, but the ones that do already do that stuff, and then they're listening to that on top of that, saying how hard you are and things of that nature, it doesn't make the situation much better. Because music is not the sole problem here. It's a lot of things stemming from systemic racism. I think gangs actually originated in the South until they just spread out and became more than what they are now. That's why gangs in the South area are crazy. They be doing some nut stuff. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to say about violence. I think it's just something's got to change, and you don't even know what to start off with. I can only do so much with my platform. And again, I'm regards to 21 Savage stuff, I'm not calling them out. I'm just saying that's just, it's just one of the problems. Like with a lot of rappers, a lot of influencers and things of that nature. People want to be what you are, but you're not even that type of person anymore. And a lot of people either realize and be like, oh, you're soft, or like, oh, I just want to be what you used to be and things of that nature. And then the cycle continues. The cycle freaking continues over and over again. And that's only one root of the problem. Another reason is poverty and, again, systemic racism. Reparations, bringing that full circle back again. Yeah. Also, another quick little fact. Not even fact, but just an interesting thing. For those places that have like 4 seasons, have you ever noticed that crime usually goes up when it's hotter outside? I know my teacher, Miss Wanda, actually told me that back in like middle school. That's why she said she hates when winter comes to an end, because she knows crime is gonna go crazy whether that's in the hoods or downtown or just really anything overall. Spring, summer, and early fall, that's where you see the most violence. And I did a project on that, and I saw a bit of a correlation between that. It was very interesting, to say the least. Again, especially with places of 4 seasons, if you just have hot weather year round, still 9 times out of 10, it's still going to be more crazy in the spring, summer, and fall, because you just have more time. That's when school's ending and when school's about to begin towards it. So everybody's getting that. That's where people have the most free time, especially young people. Yeah, just a lot going on with violence. Something's got to give, but at the same time, what else are we supposed to do? But moving on to more of a lighter topic, as we reach about 50 minutes into the show. I'm really talking today, huh? Yeah, I'm really talking today. We're going to talk a little bit about mental health. Yeah, we're going to talk about mental health right now. When it comes to mental health, I want to ask you one question. And I want you to legitimately, like, answer it in your own way. You got to answer it underneath the comment section on YouTube, or, respond back to underneath the post on Instagram and things of that nature. But how are you feeling today? I honestly want to know, because this is the 4th week of school for me. It's been pretty good. I've been going to therapy, learning different things. I actually have a homework assignment for my therapy session that I need to go over as well, because I'm trying to fix things and things of that nature. I think I'm in a good place right now. But how are you feeling? Like, honestly, like, don't just say, "Oh, I'm good, I'm well," because something that somebody said they were really appreciating me for is just that when I ask somebody like, "How are you?" Like, I legitimately I want to know. Like, I really want to know, like, how are you feeling? Because it's hard out here, man, especially for college students and really just students and just people in general. It's an interesting time we're in at the moment. And sometimes I just want to check on my peoples. And y'all listening to this podcast, like, y'all are my peoples. Like, for real. So how are y'all feeling today? Really? And after you answer that, whether that's good, bad, ugly, anywhere in between, I want to give you some little tips that I have from my experience with trying to improve my mental health and things of that nature. Here's just some cool tips as we close the podcast, because this is the last segment and things of that nature. I might ramble a little bit at the end, but overall this is what I have. One, go get out of your environment and find your happy place. My therapist just told me this on Friday, and he was basically like, yeah, I should try to find other places to just relax besides my crib. Because I like my crib, things of that nature. But at the same time, I can go somewhere else and just chill, I can go people watch. I can go in a park and go for a walk. Go to a little event by myself if I don't want to share time with other people at the moment. Meet some new people, network. Go write somewhere outside of my regular house and everything. It brings a different viewpoint, because when we're depressed or feeling down or something like that, we don't want to do anything. It's hard to really want to do anything and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, it's not really doing us much if we just kind of sit in the same spot all the time. At the very least, go do nothing outside. Go see something other than the walls around your bedroom or the walls of the living room where I'm at right now. I'm a living room type of guy. I like being in the living room. It's kind of like an open space where I still get to talk to people, but I still have my own space because nobody else in my house is really in the living room. I'm the only one that's really in here. My other two roommates are in their rooms upstairs, and my room's upstairs too, but I'm just not a in my room type of guy. I like being in the living room. I like being in a common area. That's why I set up my podcast in here as well for when I tape it and stuff. But yeah, just get out of your environment. Like I need to get out of the living room more often as well. I have to go for walks and just, give my brain something else to look at. Give it something to be like, oh, it's a beautiful day outside. Even if it's raining sometimes, go for a drive. My car's out of commission at the moment, but, go for a drive somewhere. There's so many different things that I can do, but I'm not allowing myself to do those things sometimes because I'm just like, oh, I'm just comfortable. Even after a long day sometimes, go sit down somewhere outside. Enjoy the air, especially while it's still hot outside or moderately hot or warm or whatever, good weather. Go out. Really, it'll help change your perspective a little bit. But don't go out to do work unless it's like self-work, like reading something or praying or something of that nature. Go out and just what you do for your free time when you're inside, do the same type of thing when you're outside. Feel me? So that's one thing. Another thing is talk to someone you haven't talked to in a while. It can help bring you a new perspective. It could help you rekindle some relationships and things of that nature. It doesn't have to be an ex, girlfriend or boyfriend or anything in between, or non-binary and things of that nature. It could be your mom you haven't talked to in a while, your dad, your cousin, godfather, godparents, godsister, godbrother, an old friend, childhood friend. And then my problem is I don't like being on the phone like that. So I'll text them, but then it feels better really to call. And I am a talker, so it really fits me better to do that. But I like talking in person rather than over the phone. Because usually when I'm on my phone, I still want to do stuff on my phone, or like I'm doing something else. Because usually I'm talking to people all day. But it's something that I'm working on to just, okay, let me call you and actually have a conversation. Because usually when I actually call people, it's not that bad. But I have a thing in my head about, I might be bothering somebody and things of that nature. But it really helps to have those conversations. I called my friend that lives in Brazil about a week or two ago, and we was on the phone for like hours just talking. Just it was good to be on the phone, just talk. To people that I'm not contacting all the time, or specifically her, because she's super far away. But there are other old childhood friends and things of that nature, male or female or anything between, that I can just call and just be like, hey, what's up? And just catch up, things of that nature. I gotta contact my friend Dime. I forgot about her. I called her a few weeks ago, but I should call her again or text her or something of that nature. Preferably call again, because it's a little more meaningful, because it's really, when you call somebody, it shows that you're really taking the time to check up on them for real. I mean, even more if you can go see them in person, of course, set that up beforehand. Don't just pull up usually, unless y'all really close. But yeah. But here's another tip. Go be creative / active. Sing, write, draw, journal, do poetry, build something if you want to do that. Go for be active in a creative way. Hopscotch, jump rope, play on a playground. You never know. Do something like that. Play Minecraft. Play creative games on your phone, or do word puzzles or word searches, or Sudoku. Play chess. Play checkers. Something that gives the brain a little something to exercise with. But figure out what works for you, though. Or maybe just try something new. You also make something. Create something with your hands and things of that nature. Or make a melody in your head. Go sing a song. Write a song. You can do this by yourself, which really helps it by yourself, or you can do it with other people as well. There's so many different things that you can do. What I mean by be creative / being active, go work out. It's peaceful to do something by yourself sometimes and just bask in it. It shows a sense of self-appreciation to an extent, and that's something that I'm trying to do as well. It's a really good thing to do. For me, I have so many different things that I can do, and that's really a problem, because then I can never just end up choosing what I want to do. But what I have been doing inconsistently, but still when I do it, it's very relieving, is playing my guitar. I have a guitar. I actually just performed with my guitar for the first time live in front of people. I did it on IG Live once, but literally like in person, and they really messed with it, and I loved it. I was singing, what was I singing? When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light I see. It's, Stand By Me. So darling, stay by me. Oh, stand by me. I love music. I really do love music. Even though I do my podcast a lot right now, I still exercise my muscles by doing music. I need to start writing poetry again as well, because it was a poetry event, but I just wanted to bring my guitar as an intimate space. I like people could, they could like it. And they liked it, especially when I did the JUUUUUUELZ. Yeah, no, that's my tagline. That's what I do. JUUUUUUELZ is what I do, man. Yeah. So, but yeah, go find something that works for you. I have multiple things that work for me, but finding things that work for you. Again, it's whatever makes you feel happy. Again, playing the video game works to an extent, but go find an interesting place to play the game. Try to play the game outside. If you got a projector, if you have an extension cords to plug up everything outside, right? Go play games in like a game room. We have a game room on campus, like in those like central places. Go to a gym
by yourself, like a basketball gym, or even go on a field, or just do things that makes you a little happy. Go one-on-one with people and throw the football around, go over routes and stuff. Like, do things that make you feel happy. They get to expand your brain muscles and things of that nature while still getting a certain type of satisfaction that you can't really get from just laying in the house and just doing a little bit of nothing. Try to find in between. Of course, there is space to do a little bit of nothing, because we all have to do nothing sometimes just to relax, and do those type of things. And also another one, pray. Definitely do pray and things of that nature. Because it's really important, especially if you are man of faith, man or woman of faith, or non-binary person of faith, or they, them, whatever it is, whatever you believe in. Take the time to dive deep into that belief and learn. And if you don't believe in anything, then just learn about yourself. Learn about some existential things and things of that nature. As y'all know already, I am a Christian, man. I do a little bit I read my devotionals every day, but I also do, I read in this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Shout out to my friend in Brazil for giving me that. She's not from Brazil, everybody. She's just studying abroad. Just reading that. I haven't read it in like 2 weeks, but when I do read it, it's very helpful. Or I listen to things that, give off positive energy and positive vibes. Find different things to, that helps me get through the day. To be more consistent and putting in the work with that type of stuff and doing my own activities, things of that nature. But again, it helps to an extent, and everybody has to find what works for them. But definitely, I would recommend seeing a therapist as well, regardless if you think you have everything together or not. But there's usually something there. And be open to the therapist. Granted, I know there's a person you don't know, but you know that they're there for your help. So let them help you. They can only help you as much as you help them by telling them about yourself, telling them what's going on with yourself. And if it probably feels weird in your stomach when you're about to say it, then you probably need to say it. It's gonna hurt, but after you finish saying it, you're gonna feel a sense of relief. So there's a lot going on in the world, but we have to make sure we're good first. No matter what you believe in, making sure you're okay is always the top priority, along with if you're a man of faith. Following the God and paying attention to God and things of that nature. Because, yes, you can help people while you're still helping yourself, but you still have to help yourself eventually. And don't keep putting it off, because that'll only make it worse. Because drugs, weed, drinking, pills, etc., they're only temporary fixes. Also, stop using vape pens and stuff like that, y'all. That is not good for y'all at all. Your lungs do not appreciate it. All right, I'm just gonna keep it a bean with y'all. All right, I'm just talking about specifically that, and please make sure y'all just not doing all that stuff too much. Okay, don't be too fixated on them, because again, that's just putting off the real problem. Go seek help, please, because weakness is not. Let me start over. Go seek help. Because it's not a weakness to be weak, but it is a weakness to stay weak. Because you can always keep moving forward. So as we close this podcast, just remember that your mental health comes first. Self-care. It's big. Find your own way to do self-care and things of that nature, because it matters. It really does matter. And even though I don't know everybody listening to this podcast, I do want y'all to know that I care about y'all. I was taught growing up through multiple women at my church, the older women. They were very caring women and things of that nature. Shout out Believers in Christ Christian Academy. They always taught me to love everybody, no matter what. I may not like them, but I love everyone. I truly do, even if they're a dickhead. Just gonna keep it real. Sometimes I can be a dickhead, but I appreciate everybody that continues to love me regardless of me being a dickhead or not, and I will continue to do the same for everyone else. Do unto others as you want them to do to you, and even though that is a scripture, that also should be a life thing. Even if they treat you like crap, you don't have to do everything good for them all the time, but you don't have to hate them, and you don't have to be mean to them back. You can't reciprocate energy sometimes, even just, say what you got to say, because you got to say what goes off your chest. But overall, don't be a dick unnecessarily. It's just no point. Let off your chest, get it off your chest, and keep it pushing. No reason to stay focused on people who do too much. Got that? All right. So if you do, let's close this podcast. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. We're about to get that dub tonight. Hopefully we get this dub. It's going to be Monday morning by the time this comes out. Hopefully they won and I didn't just shoot myself in the foot with that. We just got our butts kicked, our asses kicked last week because no receivers know how to do what they do. But we'll bounce back. And shout out to all my fantasy football people. I went 4-0 last week in all my leagues. Actually, I got to check my fantasy right now because I just spent an hour on doing this podcast. But I'm only going to lose in like one of them this week probably. Maybe two because some of them are a little close. But one of them I'm for sure probably going to lose. But shout out to everybody listening to the podcast. Again, my Instagram is JUELZ_IS. Juelz_ is Twitter at Deacon Juelz. Y'all know to find me on the YouTube. I put my link in the description every episode. My link tree in the description for my music as well as the podcast and all that type of stuff. Be sure to tune in next week because you already know I'm coming back with a guest. I only like doing these solo episodes every now and then just to, me and you, let's talk. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll do these episodes live. Because I think that probably would be better if I did these episodes live, and just see who be messing with me, you know what I mean. But as we grow, we'll make that decision later. But I do like the idea of doing this specific, like the solo ones, with live. That could be pretty dope. But until then, y'all, I'll catch y'all later. We'll be back with a guest this upcoming week. Don't know who yet, but hey, it could be somebody, and it's gonna be versatile. Yeah! All right, this is Juelz signing off. Peace.